If you're thinking about applying for the 150 Leaders Programme, I'm here to tell you, absolutely do it.
Prior to the programme, I could never imagine myself as a leader. A year on, I am so grateful for the journey that I have embarked on.
It's an incredible opportunity for both the personal and professional development, and for me personally, it's really helped me to grow in confidence and better understand my strengths.
It'll really enable you to show true, authentic leadership.
It's introduced me to a world full of colourful, optimistic, enthusiastic people.
And the course has also provided me with a lot of opportunities going forward.
This leadership program is all about you and the changes that you want to make.
And I've gained a lot of confidence to speak for myself and also for others.
It's been an absolutely life-changing program for me.
The program encouraged me to be the change that I want to see.
Basically, if you want to realise your leadership potential and also work out how you can make real change in your industry, then 150 Leaders Programmes for you.
You'll have absolutely nothing to lose if you don't apply, and absolutely everything to gain if you do apply.
I really strongly recommend that you apply for the Student Leadership Programme. The applications are open on the 1st of April.
A full day for some, but not for you. Good luck.
Hi everybody, welcome. I am Nadia and I run the Student Leadership Programme at the Council of Deans of Health. I'm delighted that we have so many people here joining us this evening, and I really hope that it'll be useful for those of you thinking about applying. We're also joined by a handful of our current lovely students on our programme. So I don't know if you can give us a wave, but Ismat Khan, who is a student diagnostic radiographer, Lois Gaffney, student nurse, David Cabrini-Back, a student physiotherapist, Helen Pritchard, student midwife, Kenny Fakir, student nurse, and also Margaret Chung, who's a student art therapist. Thanks all for waving. I hope people could actually see you guys. So I'm just going to do a bit about the Student Leadership Programme first, and I want to start here so that you know that you're definitely eligible to apply for the programme. It's a good starting point, I think. So the criteria here is that you need to be a current first or second year undergrad pre-reg student or a first year postgraduate pre-reg student. So whatever your status is at the time that you press send on your application, that's what counts, not what will happen in September, not what happens a year ago. It's about what you'll be in September. And also if you're in Scotland and you're doing a 4-year programme, you're also eligible to apply in your 3rd year. You must be studying nursing, any of the 4 fields or a combination of the 4 fields, midwifery, or one of the allied health professions. You also need to be studying at one of the Council of Deans of Health member institutions. Don't be too worried about that. That's the overwhelming majority of UK universities, but it's worth checking just to make sure. I've tried to contact everybody who registered who isn't eligible, so in all likelihood you're fine with that point. And you will also need to be available to attend the Welcome Conference on the 9th and 10th of September 2021. We really hope that this is going to be in person, but as you can imagine, we're not really sure what the government guidance will be in September, but we're very hopeful that it will be in person. So just in case people were wondering what the allied health professions are and who is eligible, there's a whole list here. And also at the bottom, there is a link where you can find the full list of members in case you are wanting to check whether your university is a member of the council. You may want to also jot that down, but it's also available on the Student Leadership Programme website. So I guess the big question is, what is the Student Leadership Programme? The programme is a year-long leadership programme that officially starts with a 2-day residential event full of workshops, lectures and project work. And this is when you'll get to meet a big group of exciting students, some here today, often from professions you may not have even ever met before. And where it's possible, we run these face-to-face, but we may have had to run these virtually this year. And the programme also ends with a residential event. The programme includes a coaching scheme, Each student is assigned a special one-on-one coach, and these coaches are leaders in their own right from the healthcare sector, and who very generously give up their time to support students on our programme. Students on the programme are required to attend meetings with your coach, and we provide each student with a small budget so that you can travel to meet your coach face to face. Of course, there's also the opportunity to meet your coach and speak with them online, and it's really down to your preferences. That will depend on each individual pairing. We also do lots of stuff online, including discussions, meetings, webinars, podcasts, blogs, and we will also provide you with opportunities outside of this in areas that you may be interested in. The Council of Deans of Health who organise the programme are very well connected with policymakers, which helps us to access opportunities for students to join the decision-making tables and have influence in your professions. We have really tried to encourage students to put leadership skills into practice, and we do this by asking students to undertake projects. And Ismet, who is here today, has been running hers all day, and she's still come to this webinar this evening. I'm sure some of our 150 leaders will share some more about their projects a bit later, but we've had such a wide range of leadership projects that have had real good benefit to other students, their professions, and also the future of healthcare. So just a handful of examples you may have heard of at We Student Nurses on Twitter. That was set up by 250 leader students, and We AHPs is also run by 2 of our alumni. We've had students promote their professions by holding events, webinars, and even land a slot on BBC News. You could start a blog or a website, organise support sessions for other students in your cohort. Doing a project should be something that you're interested and passionate about, and an opportunity to really embrace that. One question that we often get asked is whether it costs anything to take part in the programme, and our answer is no. All our places on the programme are fully subsidised, and this is thanks to the Council of Deans of Health, who run the programme, and they co-fund it with the Burnett Trust for Nursing, who have kindly supported the programme for the last 4 years, and they enable us to have 50 students on the programme each year. And this year we are really lucky that we have the support of Health Education England, who are funding 5 additional places for students in England from allied health backgrounds. So what is the application process? So to apply to the Student Leadership Programme, you will be required to complete an online application form. We do get hundreds of students apply for the programme, so it is very competitive, but please don't let that put you off. The application form consists of 5 assessed questions which are marked blind by the Council of Deans of Health team. The form also has other questions that aren't assessed, which are personal details and preferences. The key part of the application form are these 5 questions. We won't be revealing what the questions are today, and they will be made available on the application form once we do open for applications. And the questions are slightly different to previous years, but not too different. So saying that, I'd like to quickly go over to our 150 leaders that are here with us today and ask them actually what their top piece of advice would be when writing your application. So Ismet, can we start with you?
Of course you can. My top tip for the application form would just be to be genuine. Leadership sounds daunting. It sounds like you need to gloss over who you are, but I think what hits most is when you tell a genuine story. You tell why you deserve a place on the program, and just hit home.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Thank you. Helen?
Hi, thanks Nadia. Good evening everyone. Thanks very much for joining us this evening. My top tip would be, if you're anything like me and you like to write lots and lots like I do, and you're filling out the questions and you're answering them in a Word document, where you've got a word count, just go under that word count, because what I found was that although I'd stuck to the word count, by the time I'd copied and pasted my answers into the online document, for some reason the template's slightly different, and although I'd stuck to the word count, I had to suddenly start taking words out at the very last minute. So just kind of try and go under the word count if you can, and then put it into the online document so that you've got a bit of wiggle room. That would be my top tip. Thanks, Nadia.
Thanks, Helen. Kenny?
Oh, thanks, Nadia. Sorry for the glitch there. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Kenny. My top tip for you would be to be yourself. You need to tell the readers about what your passion are or is. And for example, I would say to you, if you've had previous experience in leadership, I think that would be an added advantage for you to share your views, your opinion, and thoughts about what leadership is and how you might have changed things in your previous role. And if you have been line managed by somebody in position of leadership, I want to believe you would have a perception about what the person might have done very well and things that you'd like to see changes about. So that would be my top tip for you. And secondly, perhaps if you have the opportunity and you have the word count, you need to tell the reader about the things you want to change. But be mindful of your thinking about changing things, because most times you may not have the privilege or the opportunity to change everything, but you can kickstart a change. So that would be my top tip for you. Thanks, Nadia.
Thanks, Kenny. That's great advice. Margaret, can we go to you?
Hi everyone, I'm Margaret, a trainee art psychotherapist. My top tip would be, sounds a bit cliche, but give examples. Because for a student leadership program, you need to be like first or second year in your subject. And like me, I entered, I'm a first year in my master's when I applied. So I didn't have much experience like in my field, but give examples in your answers. You can talk about like volunteer work experience, like paid job, or even like just transferable skills that you can use to demonstrate your leadership quality. And I echoing what Ismet and Kenya said, like show your passion for your profession and show your authentic self. That's it. Thank you.
Absolutely, that's great. Thank you, Margaret. Lois.
Hi everybody. I'd say that my best piece of advice is to just dig deep and find your inner enthusiasm, because we often go through life and work and we come across lots of people that are less enthusiastic than ourselves, but you've already shown that you're willing to make a change because you're thinking about applying for the leadership programme. I'm going to say ignore all these, and this is 150 leaders quote, mood hoovers, and just be yourself, let yourself be passionate, and because you will make a difference if you do this. Okay, thank you.
I love that phrase. Absolutely. Thank you, Lewis. And David.
Hi, yes, I'm David. I'm a student physiotherapist. I probably want to start my top tip by giving a quote by a leadership guru called Brené Brown. And she says that vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And I think that's what the program is after. It's after someone who's willing to change and looking for change. So I think showing that vulnerability within your application is really helpful. So for me, I'm probably one of the few that have applied twice. I failed first time and I got in second time, Nadia. And I would say the first time round, I very much looked at it like a job interview. I really tried to sell myself. I focused on all the positive things that I could bring. Second time round, I really focused. And as Isma said, maybe much more genuine. I talked about the fact that I lack of confidence, I'm an introvert, and those are things I wanted to work on, and I think that helped me in my second application and helped me get on. So yeah, show some vulnerability within your application.
Thank you, David, and thank you for the honesty, and everyone, thank you for your advice. I'm going to add or develop to what you've already said. You've kind of covered a lot of the things that I was going to say anyway. but I guess crucially, spend some time on your application, be thoughtful and consider it as to what you're going to write about. Saying, I want to learn about leadership. And we really do get people that apply and write, I want to learn about leadership, end of sentence, end of application. And, you know, that isn't going to set you apart from other people. It's very competitive. Read about the program, make sure you understand and you know what to expect. And I guess being here today will help with that. Find out what others have gained from the program and think about how that will benefit you. Keep your answers relevant, keep them personal, as Margaret was saying about using examples. Explain exactly why you deserve a place in the program and why you more than anyone else, what makes you stand out. Make sure you read the questions carefully and think about the best response you can give. It is helpful to use examples in your answer, and assessors also enjoy finding out about your previous experiences. As Kenny was talking about, when sharing examples, it's helpful to make sure that you explain the example clearly and note your specific contribution and the impact that you made. When deciding on an example to use, consider an example which is most relevant and best demonstrates your leadership potential. We're not looking for fully fledged leaders. We don't need to be that person, but we need to understand your enthusiasm, your motivation, and what you might be hoping to do in the future. You should note that you can't save your application as you're going along, so it's really useful to write down your answers out separately in a Word document or something like that before you submit it, and think about the structure of your answers. Avoid waffling as much as you can to keep your answers clear and relevant. Use that word count effectively. Whilst you want to make sure that your application is concise, the one sentence responses make the people who are assessing your application think you've rushed it. Use the word count given as an indication of roughly how long your response should be to each question. Make sure that you read your answers back to ensure that it makes sense and that you haven't made spelling or grammatical errors. Whilst you won't be penalised for 1 or 2 spelling or grammar mistakes, lots of mistakes may think that you don't care about your application, or you rushed it. So if you are worried about that kind of thing, maybe ask a friend or a colleague to read over your answers and just help you proofread and just sense check what you've put down. It's always good to get a second opinion. I'd advise against getting lots and lots of opinions because that could just make everything quite confusing, but just getting 1 or 2 people just to read over your application will really help. So the timeline, the applications open on the 1st of April at 10 in the morning, and the link to apply will be available on the website. Applications will close on the 25th of April at 11:59 p.m, so it will be the Sunday evening. Please do not leave it till 11:58 to submit your application. We will not accept any applications after 11:59. So if you psychologically pretend that the deadline is actually the 23rd of April, that way if you have any technical issues or glitches, you've got time to resolve them. I don't want to have an email at 11 or 12 o'clock saying, oh, I couldn't press send. Think about it beforehand. We don't, you won't get extra points for sending your application in on the 1st of April, but if there are any issues, you probably want to iron them out well before the deadline. So it's worth beating the deadline. Don't leave it till the very, very last second. So that's all from me for now. If you have any questions about the process or anything about the programme, please submit them in the Q&A box and I'll try and answer them. I am going to ask some of our 150 leaders here today to just speak for a minute each, maybe, and to share a couple of highlights about their experience of being on the programme, if that's okay with everybody. I'm just going to stop sharing this. So shall we go over to David first?
Thank you very much. Yeah, my highlight was very much the coaching. I have to say, I mean the coaching you get is money can't buy level of sort of coaching, and you don't have to spend any money to do it, which has been fantastic. So I would say the coaching has been a real highlight for me. It's really allowed me to develop to be the leader that I wanted to be. So it's obviously that personal interaction. It takes into account what your aims are, what your goals are, what you want to be, and so I think that's certainly been a highlight for me.
Thanks, David. Shall we go to Issa?
A highlight. This is difficult for me to choose. It's definitely been a jam-packed journey. I was just going to follow on from earlier. The best person I'd advise to go for is your clinical tutor. My clinical tutor thoroughly helped me to come to write my answers and to think of ways of structuring it. So they're definitely a good person to check over your answers. My highlight for me has just been my own self journey. It's been being now. The funniest thing is looking back now, exactly a year today, I had my first coaching session. So to be stood here today where I've just led my first and directed my first kind of virtual careers event and filmed it, it's insane. You won't believe where you can be in just a year. So there's no age on this. You're not too young, there's no too old, you just have now. And the fact that you've joined this webinar means that you have the potential, you've taken the step, you've taken interest, this is something that you want to do. So I think from here is just believing in yourself and being like, you know what, this is something I want to pursue. And it's not glossing that over. The interest is there, and that's all you need. The leadership, the coaching, the program is there to help you step into that role. We don't expect polished people to step in. I definitely was not the confident person you see today. Like a year ago, I was completely different. And I don't think I would be the person I am today if I wasn't given this opportunity. So as cliche as it is, it was definitely life-changing.
Thanks, Ismet. Kenny.
Thank you, Nadia. Well, for me, I've got many highlights, but I'm just going to touch on two, and they're very, very important to me and dear to my heart. Number one, the session with Professor Stacey Johnson, reverse mentoring, that changed everything about me. And I'll just give you a brief example of how important it is for us to have that mindset when we are in places of work, university, even in our personal lives, even at home, because I've used this in my home, at work, and with colleagues at university. So the importance of reverse mentoring is this. You can use a negative situation to change to a positive one, from people who are in position of authority or people who you are supervising, let me put it that way. And that was very, very key and important to me because, you see, in health and social care, there's a cultural issues that as healthcare practitioners, we face when we're in practice. And I've been able to use that to change things in my placement area. And I'll cite an example. I was in a placement area where a member of staff was very, very abrupt to another colleague. And you see, reverse mentoring for me was just to approach that person with just simple smile and explain to that person that we work in a very, very difficult situation and we have different people walking through the door. Hence, it's important for us to be kind. And that was all I said. And that alone meant a lot to the person I supported in that situation. So that was very, very pertinent to me. And that's one of the things I took away from that conference last year. Secondly, letter to self. You know, when I was writing the letter that very night, when we had the first day, I think I rang my wife and I said to her, I've got the project that I needed to do that night, and I wanted to put everything into that project. And I set some target for myself, but you know, that letter is very important. I'm gonna stop there.
Kenny, you might have to explain what the letter is.
Okay, thank you, Nadia, for giving me that opportunity. See, there's this letter that we were asked to write to our future self. And for myself, I thought of where I want to be in 12 months. And I began to put lots of thoughts into that letter. And Nadia, I'm so happy. I'm one of the happiest man. When I received my letter last Thursday, I sat with my daughter on the bed and I was reading it to her. And she said to me, Dad, I'm really proud of you because some of the things I put in that letter, I have achieved them. I have achieved, not everything, but I've achieved about 3 out of 6 that I've put in that letter. And that's the power of that conference to me. And those were the 2 main highlights for me. Thank you for the opportunity, Nadia. And thanks to 150 leaders. It was a brilliant opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, that's really sweet. I'm tearing up a little bit, so I'm going to quickly move to Margaret, and so I can manage that. Margaret, over to you.
Thank you. Oh wow, I'm feeling quite like moved as well. Thank you, Kenny, for your incredibly genuine sharing. I think my most memorable thing about this program relates to this as well. Is the people that I've met. It's, I have to say, like it spans out to the whole year. But I have to say the highlight would be the first inaugural event where our cohort were very lucky. We get to meet everyone in person right before lockdown. That's like a week before lockdown. We get to meet in a hotel in Reading. We spent 2 days and 1 night, just intensive, eventful 2 days. I remember leaving the venue thinking to myself, oh my God, I haven't even talked to like maybe half of the people there, because everyone's just so passionate, so talented, so resourceful. Everyone's already a student leader on the very first day. And all the speakers and all the events it's just mind-blowing. And using Ismet's word, life-changing, and it's a life-changing start. And I think to share a little philosophy of myself like about joining this program is that it is just the beginning. It doesn't mean that your leadership journey stops like after this program. It's just the beginning, because in here you meet a network, a community of really wonderful, lovely people from different professions. You might work with them in the future, you might not, but you have each other's back. And like during COVID, it's everyone's so supportive and containing, very holding. It's very important to like, it's been an amazing like experience being in this program, just to be there. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. That's really generous of you to share that. Helen?
Oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. There is so much that I could talk about for the student leadership program. I could literally be here for an hour, but you don't want to hear me ranting, or not ranting, but kind of being passionate for an hour. I know that's going to be far too much, but I don't know where to start. But I really want to say that, like Margaret was saying, and Kenny and Ismet and David, that to me, the leadership program has been so transformational for me. One of the things that I really appreciated from it, when we all met in Reading, as the other guys were explaining, one of the questions we were asked was, is anyone feeling like they've got imposter syndrome? Put your hand up if you feel like you've got imposter syndrome. And I thought I'd be the only one putting my hand up, but literally so many hands up went in that room. And I just thought, gosh, I felt like I'd come home. Like, you've got 50 people in a room and you think, oh, it's going to feel really awkward, but we all just gelled so quickly and it really felt like family. I felt like I'd come home. Sometimes when I'm at university, I feel like I don't necessarily fit, but I really felt that I fitted here in the program, and that was really special for me. And one of the other things we had was that Nadia arranged over the couple of days for us to give feedback on each other. So we were given this little box. You can see here, I've got my picture here, and we all received this little box, and it was full of little pieces of paper from the people that we had seen and spoken to, and it was just little bits of feedback. So I just want to share this. Is my feedback that I got, And every time I'm struggling and I'm finding things difficult, I go back and I look at that board. Thank you to Ismat for the suggestion for having the notice board and putting all our feedback on that. And it's made such a difference to me when I'm struggling. I go back and look at that. You just get so many opportunities to meet people. As Kenny was saying, you get all these opportunities to meet fantastic people at the seminar. As David said, the coaching is amazing. Yeah, you just, honestly, it is the best. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but it is the best thing I've ever done. Yeah, I've met some lovely people. And also when I first started my degree, I really wanted to make a difference and I wasn't sure how I was going to do that. And the leadership program really has helped me do that. I've started doing it already. And as Ismat was saying, I don't recognise the person I am this year, and that is because of the student leadership program. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Nadia, because she is like our mum. She looks after us so well. She kind of takes care of us and looks after us, and it's a real family feeling. So it's not like any other kind of program I've ever done before. You really matter. You're not a bottom on a seat, you're not a number. You're Kenny, you're David, you're Helen, you're Margaret, they really care about you. And it's, gosh, I just wish everyone had the opportunity to do it. I would love everyone to have the opportunity to do the program. So please, please, please apply. It's amazing and it will transform you. So
I'm just going to follow on from that. Everything you said, Helen. And I think the title of the program can be daunting, but it's rejigging that idea of what leadership is to you. And I think that's something that I like. Walking into the program, you think you know what leadership is, and you completely redefine it for yourself. And it's so different for everyone individually. And it's finding that for yourself. And that's a journey I don't think you'd get elsewhere.
Definitely, Smart.
Thank you, guys. Last but not least, Lois.
Hi, thanks for that, Nadia. I'd say a massive highlight for me is meeting so many like-minded people. We've all really kept in touch the whole year, nearly weekly, and we've bounced ideas off each other. We've supported each other when we've been a bit down because it's been such a horrible year. We've gone to each other for advice, and we're really hoping that we'll be able to meet in person again someday. That'll be great. I'd also say, oh, sorry, Helen. Oh, fingers crossed, yeah. I'd also say that it's removed a lot of barriers for me because, as I said in the video to Nadia, it's changed my mindset from what if I fall to what if I fly. And before I would have been thinking, oh, what's people going to think if I say that? Or I'm not quite big enough or quite clever enough or anything to cross that bridge. And now I just think about how far can I go? And it's really, really exciting. I'd also say that it's made me, so part of my project was to, can you all still hear me? It's saying my internet's unstable. Yeah, okay. Part of my project was to go right back to the basics of nursing and to look at the healthcare assistants and how could I empower them to have confidence in themselves and to realise that they weren't just a healthcare assistant. And that's been really fun as well because it's been inspiring other people to see what they can achieve as well. But yeah, I think the whole thing has been great. Stacey's talk as well at the programme was very inspiring.
Thank you, Lois. Just you mentioned projects there. We've had a few questions about projects and actually just how much time the programme takes up if your studies, because it's a very busy time, and particularly this last year you guys have had the real brunt of how much of being busy and lots of things happening in the world. I guess to answer how long, this is the most popular question, how much of your week does the programme take on average? Just thinking, well, doing university if it's too much work, etc. I would say that it can take up a very little bit of your time, or it could take up a lot of your time. And what that really depends on is how much you want to give to the programme, not specifically to us as the programme, but I would argue the more that you put in, the more that you get out. And I can see some nods, so that's good to know that I'm not thinking. Okay. And people want to chip in, absolutely chip in. Let's go.
I'm just gonna say, how long is a piece of string? It's what you put in is what you get out, and that was a fear that I had going into it. I know a lot of us thought, okay, it sounds so formal, like what am I taking on? I took this on as part of my second year, so I was like, okay, like uni's getting heavy, like do I want to take this on? But I think, like Nadia said, it's what you want to get. I think it's not necessarily what you want to give to the program, it's what you want to get out of it. The more you give, the more you get, and it's just such an amazing opportunity that I wouldn't pass it up for the world. I am so glad that I made the decision to take it on. And yeah, it's whatever you want to give to it. So it's completely up to you how hard it is. But it's definitely manageable. Give it from someone who's taken on a lot this year. There's a way around it. If you want where there's a will, there's a way. You can figure your way around it. And there's always that chance of stepping back. There's always, you have the opportunity. Your coaches, everybody understands that we are students. Everyone has a lot of workload. Academically, you're required to meet deadlines. And I know at the end of last year, between October and December, I took a big step back from my project. I told both my coaches it's okay. I say both my coaches because my clinical tutor I consider my coach. But yeah, I took a big step back, and then once I felt ready to come back to my project, I picked it right back up at January, and then you can hit it full steam ahead and really, it's what you put in, you get out. There's not much more else I can say.
David, did you want to come in?
To be fair, I think Ismail has said everything I was going to say. Really, I think it is very much you. I'm probably in a slightly different position. Is that sorry, Nadia, is that I actually probably didn't do one project. I've probably done lots of little things through the year, because I think when you step up to the program, you're doing it because you want to make a difference, and so you end up getting involved and doing things. So I think it's nice to have an idea of a particular thing that you want to have in mind, but the chances are there'll be lots of things you end up doing naturally through the year that could be considered projects as such. So I think it's I completely agree. I think you get out as much as you put in. I know through the year there are webinars and opportunities to engage in workshops with Health Education England or Chief Allied Health Professions Officer. You don't have to go to them. There's nothing that the program says you must do this because you're on the program, but they're offered for you as an opportunity to get involved and start to influence and put into action what you're learning through the program. So those opportunities are there for you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take them. So if you're a bit overwhelmed with other work, and I'm third year this year, I've got 2 kids, I've had to do homeschooling, so I've had a fair amount on my plate, but I've certainly not felt it's the program that's kind of caused any sort of stress at all. So that helps.
Thanks, David. Helen, I'm going to come to you in 1 second. I'm just going to say a quick thing about the projects. So the first thing I would say is the projects are optional. They are encouraged, but they are optional. You're not going to be penalised for not doing a project. Second thing, the leadership program and your leadership journey should be at your own pace. And this year particularly has been a very unusual year. We try to be very forgiving and understanding of people's personal circumstances. We know that people can't dedicate 2 days a week to a leadership program. We're not expecting something that significant. But as we've said, what you put in, you get out. And that's how you reap the benefits from the program. We would encourage people to undertake leadership, to undertake projects. Those projects can be tiny, they can be huge. There's a big scale of what a project consists of, and we try and be flexible also with how you define that project. You can link projects together that you're already planning to do, and ultimately they should be something you're passionate about. And I'd hope that if you are passionate about it, you would want to do it and you have that motivation to do it. Helen.
Thanks, Nadia. You pretty much said what I was going to say to me. No, it's good. I was going to say, actually, one of my friends discouraged me from joining the leadership program. It's like, Helen, you've got so much on. You always struggle with your time. What are you doing? But I would say, my gosh, it is the best thing I've ever done. You know, I actually think that I've got a lot. I mean, I think I give a lot, but I feel like I've got so much out of it that I never even dreamed possible. And there are, like, I just want to show you my little bounce back Billy. This was we going back to the seminars. There are so many different varied seminars that we got to do, things about well-being, how to be a leader, so many different seminars that we got so much from. You get so much, I think you get so much for not a huge amount of effort. I genuinely believe that. Obviously you put a lot of effort in, but what I'm trying to say is that the more you give, the more you get back anyway. There are so many different opportunities, and you get lots of different opportunities to meet people and to be invited to events. Nadia's put me in contact with groups to do various different events. There are so many different things you can do. I'm a third year student midwife, and I've been doing this while I've been having dissertation and case loading and things like that. And as David said, this has been something that's been really enjoyable, and I'm so glad I had the opportunity. And yes, it is hard kind of juggling everything, but I think it's far more rewarding than you might actually think. So please, please, please apply. I'm so passionate about it. It will transform your life. I mean it.
Oh, Kenny and then Margaret.
Thanks, Nadia. I just want to echo what has been said about projects. I just want to advise that you need to look at it as something that is relative. Projects can be in different forms and shapes, and you can achieve a lot without having to do something big or massive. And I'll tell you why. The reason why I have this mindset and share this thought, it's just because my passion is a project in its own right. And what is my passion? My passion is to see that young people who have mental health issues have some kind of role model in their lives. That is a project that cannot be measured easily. It's something that you have to give, and it's about your time. So please, when we're talking about projects, we all have different passions, we all have different ways of thinking, our ideology, our perception, our understanding and inclination about life is different. So please don't feel daunted about the word project. It's very simple and easy. And sometimes you may not be able to measure it, the success of it or what you've achieved. But if you reflect, you would be able to come to a conclusion that actually what your passion is driving you to do things that you believe should be done. So please, project does not have to be something that everybody has to see. Like Nadia rightly said, it's something that could be as little as just giving your time for a cause that you believe. That's a project. And that's you showing your leadership skills, coming out of your comfort zone. Because for me, my first project was to set up a WhatsApp group for the court. That was my first project. And you know what? I felt so happy about it because it was something that I had to do out of my comfort zone. I'm pretty much like David. I'm an introvert. But the conference helped me to recognize that actually I need people around me. I need to network. I need to get out of that place, my bubble, and just say hello, speak to people. So please, I just want to reiterate that your project could be something as little as your family. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. Margaret.
Yeah, I think just to build up on that point, and also about well-being and self-care. I think like you can think of project quite creatively and think of it as a sustainable. I like thinking of things how to make it sustainable. There's no point for me because I know that I'm not the kind of person who like like a big event, and I don't do things that way. So I'd rather do it like bits of breadcrumbs, but for me to like path my way so that I can like make it a continual like change in my life to become a better leader and a better person, and also become in my opinion, to be a good leader is also about time management, but not about like how much you can juggle. It's about like how you give time and give permission for yourself to take a break, to take a step back and take rest as well. And that's important.
Thank you, Margaret. We have so many questions. I've been rapidly trying to reply to all of them, so I will eventually get through them. We've had a couple of questions about examples of projects. So particularly one question, Helen, directed at you about your midwifery project. And Ismet, I guess, given you did yours today, whether you might want to talk about yours as well, and obviously anybody else who wants to jump in. Helen, shall I go to you first if you're happy?
Yeah, you can. So I'm a classic example of not being able to do the project that I wanted to. I had planned to, so I'm still planning to do it, but my project, I wanted to look at buddying systems. So when I've been in placement, I've noticed that some of the midwives have been absolutely fantastic, and we have buddies in our university. So we have third years that are buddies for the second years, and second years that are buddies for the first years, and the third years are kind of like the grandparent of the family. But I thought it would be really nice if that could be what we're trying to say, that could be carried on so that you actually have a buddy within placement, so that you've actually got a student midwife buddy, a midwife buddy for the student midwife. Sorry, I'm not explaining this very well, apologies. And that with that you could, sorry, I've lost my train of thought, but yeah, so that you've actually got someone that has been at the university, has done the course, and that can actually give you a bit of guidance, because I found a lot of the midwives that I had worked with had been at the university, had done the course, were giving me advice about some of the assignments and revising for exams. And so I wanted to look at how that system could work, but particularly because of COVID, how that system could work online rather than seeing people face to face. So my project is to look at how a buddy system with newly qualified people, whatever your profession might be, how that could work on an online basis. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a literature review on that. So the other thing I'd also say is, don't worry if you can't do it within the timescale. There's always plenty of opportunity, and you can pick it up later, and life happens. So like Margaret was saying, it's got to be sustainable, like pick up little bits where you can. So yeah, that's my project, and it's also then trickling into my dissertation. I'm looking at the importance of self-compassion for student midwives, and also we've done a project at university that's kind of linking in with student leadership of people having name badges, so having the hashtag hello my name is badge and having your name, so that people don't refer to you as a student, they refer to you as your name rather than the student. And that's something that's happening for midwives, and they're hoping to implement it for nurses as well. So we're hoping it's going to have a trickle effect to the other healthcare students. So there's kind of, like David was saying, it's kind of lots of different little things going on at different times. So I hope that was okay. Sorry to talk too long, Nadia.
So thank you, Helen, for sharing. And there's some thank you messages in the chat that you might want to have a look at. Isma.
Thank you, Nadia. I don't know where to begin with mine. It's felt like I've been doing it forever. But the most rewarding thing I've ever done, and it's not even finished yet. I started off the program without a clear mind of what I wanted to do in my project. I kind of stepped in thinking, okay, I'll be a part of other people's projects. I never thought I would single-handedly lead my own project. So the first thing that I actually got involved with was another student leader's BBC project, and that was a big step for me. I got in front of a camera and had to film myself whilst on placement. And after achieving that, I was like, okay, I did that. I can do my own thing. And then I took on my own project. I wanted to do mine around career promotion. I'm the only diagnostic radiography student on the program. So that was alarm bells to me. I was like, okay, we need to get more radiographers on this. So I ran back and I was like, okay, what can I do? Where can I start with this? So it started off as a very simple idea. I wanted to do the typical careers workshop, careers event kind of thing. And the idea kind of snowballed, and due to COVID, it had to be changed again and again and again, to a point where we were like, okay, we're going to do it virtual. And then we're like, okay, let's take away the whole live and microphones and all of that, because there's too many things that could possibly go wrong. And so today we just about managed to film 4 different groups as if students would attend a virtual careers event, but the camera following as if the camera was a student, and they attended 4 different workshops that all students led, all students that are on my course, to all peer students that are third years, second years, or first years, talking about radiography, talking about what we do. We even had a section where they demonstrated chest x-rays, and this is all something I single-handedly planned, but it wasn't alone. My coach helped me, my peers helped me. Without them, it would not be what it is. I think the best thing is you don't do your project alone. Yes, you're the leader, but leadership isn't about being on top. It's about what you can do and who you can work with to get to the end product. It's being a team player. And I think that redefined leadership to me. It was finding, okay, let's not be stood in front of the room. Let's take lead, but be a part of the group. And it's finding out how to bring out all everyone's individual qualities and really use that to get to your end product. And I think it's not a skill I walked into the program knowing. It's something I've developed slowly, through many rehearsals, so that today could have happened. So yeah, like, you don't know where your project starts. It starts with a mere idea and it will snowball. And with your coaches, I can say for sure, Jill has pushed me. She really, really pushed me. And she was like, yes, you can do that, but what more? And the greatest thing is they will never put words in your mouth. They wait for you to come to that, your own decision, your own ideas. And that's how coaching is very different from mentoring. It is completely what you bring to the table. And that's something that I really liked. And that really helped me develop myself. It helped me think for myself, like, okay, what do I want out of this? What should I consider? So yeah, the self journey for me, like, I can't say it enough. You'll be a different person. It's so cliche, and everyone says that. Everyone says you'll be a different person, but you genuinely do walk out a different person. You really will. It's changing. It is so life changing.
And it's strange to think, I met you all a year ago, and just knowing you all now and seeing what you've done and what you've achieved, and your confidence developing in just really realistically a very, very short space of time. As the mum, I'm not anyone's mum here. It's really lovely to see, and seeing your confidence build, and not only you're leading and you're using those opportunities of your project to put those skills into practice, but actually you're bringing other people up with you, and that's really important for me. And someone's asked the question, what is the ultimate aim of the program? And I guess the ultimate aim of the program is to develop leaders, right? You're not future leaders, you are leaders right now. You are leading, but we want to make other people leaders as well. We want to expand that, and that's your work. That's the work of the student, is to bring other people along with you. And we're really lucky that seemingly the application process works, because we have such a wonderful bunch. Not to say people who don't get on aren't wonderful, David, but yeah, that's the real aim of the program, is to develop leaders in healthcare. It's quite straightforward, I think, in that sense. Does anybody else want to say? Oh, actually, I just noticed the time. It's actually really late. We have one good question here that's good to kind of finish on, I guess. Is what one word? I've now lost the question, but it was one word to describe the program. Just go, Kenny's going first. You guys can think.
Amazing opportunities.
That's 2 words, but I'm sure that'll be okay. Any volunteers, Helen? Then Lois.
I'll let Lois go first.
Involving. I've just felt involved the whole way through the programme, and I continue to feel involved to this day.
And Lois is probably our furthest student, I would say. She came the furthest to come and join us face to face, so thank you, Lois. Helen?
I've said it several times, it's my buzzword, transformational. I feel like it's a bit like a little caterpillar going into their chrysalis and then metamorphosing into a butterfly. As you said, Nadia, you've noticed such a big change in us. I've noticed a change in everyone that we've been speaking to this evening. So transformational is my word.
Thanks, Helen. Who's going next? Go on, Margaret. I volunteered. Okay. David?
Yeah, just one word is tough. It sounds really cliched. That's the problem with it, but it fits. So you have to use it, and it is inspiring. It's definitely inspiring. Absolutely.
Thank you. Go on, Margaret.
Right, I found the word unique. Because I think that this is a unique program, and your journey in this program is going to be unique.
Great. Ismet. Oh, she hasn't got one.
I'm struggling to think of one.
All right, you keep thinking. I'm going to really boringly try and answer some questions. So someone's asked about the length of the program. You will technically have your first event in September, and then you will probably due to finish around kind of late spring next year. I hope that's answered that question. We have asked a question about I've completely lost the question now, but basically in previous years we have asked you to get a letter or a tutor or mentor to write a supporting or fill in a supporting form. It's not a actual letter of recommendation, but it's just a letter for support. We have changed the process this year, so you don't need to do that now, but you will be required, if you get offered a place, to get that form completed. It's not a difficult form, it's really straightforward, like someone just needs to sign it basically. So don't let that put you off if you are just starting your programs in April and you're worried that your tutors don't know you yet. You can worry about that afterwards, and we can get in touch with your university directly if you need to do that. This isn't a recognised qualification by managers in the NHS. People will know the programme, but we're hoping that what you have learned and developed and the confidence and skills that you've picked up from the programme will help you with employability. It's not about having a qualification on your CV. I hope that's what you guys all think as well. I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think this is about having something ticked off on your CV, and it shouldn't be about that. It should be about you and your leadership journeys. So if you're doing the program just to get something to put on your CV, I would suggest that's probably not necessarily the right motivation to apply. Do students who complete the program go on to be coaches themselves? Is there an option moving forward? Strangely enough, yes, TBC. So that's going to be something that we might be talking about soon. We also do buddying. So we've now got lots of alumni who've been on the program, and they often come back and support students who are just about to start on the program, and particularly that time from being told that you've got place in the program before you've actually ever met anybody is quite a weird time, and you don't really know what to expect. So that's a kind of crucial time for buddying and having that support, but also 100 leaders are everywhere on Twitter, everywhere. You can't escape them. So if you do have any questions, you can definitely just ask people on Twitter. And just to say that the alumni, you know, these guys won't necessarily know, but we don't really ever get rid of any 100 leaders just because you finish your cohort. We don't abandon you, we never talk to you again. We really want to keep you in the loop. We want to continue to offer opportunities where we can. And we very much hope that we'll again be able to meet a huge cohort of 150 leaders face to face in the future. I hope I've answered most of these questions. Isma, do you have your final word? No.
I feel like I've rinsed my final word. My final word is life-changing.
That's great. What a way to end. David, did you want to have a second word?
Sorry, no, it was just because there's someone, and I think it was in that question, they asked if like the aim was like high level management, and I was just going to say, for me, I don't think that's where I would want to end up. I think very much it's just about being the best version of me that I can be, and helping other people being the best version of them as they can be, and that's sort of my aim point, is just being the best at enabling others to be, and if they go on to go high level management because that's the best of them, then that's success for me, sort of thing. So yeah, sorry, just to go.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't come with an expectation of your career path, very far from it. You know, you need to decide what you want to do, and we will try and help you get there and try and make it happen. It's not the other way around. As David put very nicely. Does anyone want to say anything before we end tonight? Any final words of advice, encouragement? Helen?
I just wanted to say, do it. Honestly, it'll be the best thing that you've ever done. If you've got any questions or anything like that, just let us know. And as Nadia said, the bigger thing I would say, because I almost fell foul of this, do not leave your application to the last minute. Spend lots of time on it. It will take you longer than you think. You will have some technical issues. I had some technical issues. So yeah, you don't have to get it in straight away, but I would just start working on your application straight away. And as I can't remember, it might be Ismat said, get your university, whoever you're close to at university, maybe a lecturer or your program lead, ask them to have a look over your application as well. That was really good advice. I did that, and they kind of know what the student leadership program's looking for, because obviously they're getting people into university. So make sure that you're making the most of your tutors as well for help with your application.
Have a quick search on Twitter, see if use hashtag 150 leaders and your university. I'm sure somebody would have been on the program from your university. Get in touch, because everybody would be happy to help from the alumni. Isma?
I'm just going to say it's truly a window of opportunities. The doors this program opens for you, the people it'll put you in contact with, you will not get that anywhere else. And that's what's unique about the program, and that is what is most beneficial. So you will not miss out. You have everything to gain from this program, and just try your luck, put in an application, and you'll always have a second chance if you're a first year, and if not, there will be other opportunities. There's always something to fall back on.
Thank you, Isma. Kenny?
2 last pieces of advice. Do a self-reflective account of yourself. Ask yourself questions about what are your passions in life. That's number 1. Number 2, draw up a plan on a page. And I believe you would come out on the other hand happy. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny. Did you want to say something, Margaret, as well?
Yeah, just last point. Just go for it, apply it. You got nothing to lose. And even in like answering the application questions, you can find out a lot about yourself. So just do it.
Thanks, Margaret. Okay, we've got to stop at some point. Helen, quick, last word.
Oh, no, I'm really sorry. I just wanted to say, please apply, and that it will give you, there are lots of things that we covered that you won't even realise. So it's not just about leadership, it covers well-being, lots of other things as well. So it's not just about leadership. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Helen. I have to say a huge thank you for all of you for joining us, those people listening. We have some 100 leaders, not just on the screen, but actually behind the scenes listening. I've seen some message of support, so hello and thank you for joining us. To Helen, Margaret, Lois, Isma, David and Kenny, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your experiences and your advice. I hope this has really encouraged people to apply to the programme. If you do have any questions, please drop me an email. It's plastered all over the Student Leadership Programme website. So www.councilofdeans.org.uk/student leadership. Twitter, we're everywhere. Just contact us if you do have questions. Applications open on the 1st of April and they will close on the 25th of April at 11:59. And we hope to let everybody know whether you get a place or whether you don't get a place by the end of June, if not before. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us, and I hope you have a lovely evening.